My name is Blake Calhoun. I'm a freelance filmmaker and YouTube creator. And during the pandemic, I had a Tuff Shed built in my backyard to use as a home studio. This series of videos shows how I did it and how you can too. In a previous video, I showed how I put this gravel bed underneath the shed before it was built, obviously, as a quasi foundation, really more of a bed to help with preventing weeds from coming back and water runoff. But what I need to do now is finish the edging. I'd always planned on not seeing this. These are just cheap rock and gravel. And so now I'm going to put some edging around the entire shed and fill it with some nice river rock. Made a trip to Home Depot and picked up the landscape edging I'm going to use, and wow, is this stuff heavy, and it's much bigger than I really thought it would be. I mean, I knew it was going to be 12 inches across and 3.5 inches high, but it's one of those things where it actually seems bigger when you actually get it in person. But I think it's gonna look pretty good. So I'm gonna put one piece this way and then the rest of them down that way, lengthwise. But I got a lot of work to do before that. All right, I got the car unloaded. That took about, I don't know, 15 to 20 minutes. Quite a bit of manual labor, doing it by myself here. Got the edging stacked up here on each side. This is the back side, and then this is the far side. So next up, I need to decide if I'm going to dig a small trench or whether I'm just going to let these rest on the ground. I'm not 100% sure. Actually, before I do that though, I forgot I need to patch this little edge over here. And so I'm going to do that first, and then I will see the best way to lay down the new edging. All right, I finished the patch job, and it doesn't necessarily look pretty, but that's okay because it will be covered by my new river rock, and then the outer edge will have this new trim around it. I just wanted to put a little bit more of a weed barrier there. There's not much grass or weeds back here, but just wanted to have it be more uniform. And so now I will check out how I'm going to lay out the edge trim. All right, so I'm going to just lay these out initially, and then I'll decide whether I want to trench it. I'm going to see how they look first. All right, well, I think this is looking pretty good. I still don't know whether I'm going to trench it, but I'm going to go ahead and lay out all the edging around the entire shed to get an idea of how it's going to look. All right, well, this back side is all laid out and it's looking pretty good. Got some roots right here that I may need to cut around. Either cut the stone or maybe cut the root. I don't know, I gotta figure that out. Another root right there, one down there too. I'll deal with that later. Just kind of looking right now. All right, well, that's everything laid out. All right, so I got a tape measure here, and I'm gonna go around and measure. There's a bug right there. I'm gonna go around and measure and just kind of see where I am. This is just kind of falling off the truck, so I wanted them to be about a foot away from the building. And this first one is just over a foot, so it's about 12.5 inches. And that is 12, under 12. So yeah, I'm losing my line here. And then that's only 10 inches. So I got some work to do. I got to fix this. All right, so I've adjusted these, and what I decided to do was make them all about 10 inches from the actual shed. That way they're just on the outside of the pre-existing trim. And I think it looks pretty good, and it'll also make it to where I don't have to put quite as much nice river rock in here. Now I got to go along and check this back side and the other side. So I've now gone around all the sides and adjusted all the trim to where everything on this side is 10 inches away from the shed, and then back here it's 12 inches, it was a little bit deeper back here. On a couple of these, I am going to dig a small trench because they're leaning quite a bit. They're up against my bed that I built, and so that works well, but they are leaning, especially these right here. And I don't want that to be the case. I want these to be secure, because through here, water definitely runs. If you saw my earlier video, we have a French drain system down at that end of the fence, and there's a drain about halfway right there, and there's a drain in the corner. And all this, I'm going to do some landscaping as well. I'm not 100% sure yet what I'm going to do. And then on this side, everything here is the same as the other side. These are 10 inches from the actual shed. And so that part worked out to be pretty good. It's pretty uniform. I mentioned earlier, I've got a couple roots here. I'm gonna have to figure out, they are, I don't know, 4 feet from the tree. So you can cut roots if they're far enough away, or I may actually grind the stone underneath it. I need to decide that. And this one's even worse because the root's a lot bigger coming along here. One thing you might have noticed is that I'm ending the trim right here on the edges on both sides of the shed. And there is a reason for that. My plan is to actually put a very small deck in front, almost just like a set of stairs right in front of the door, but then it's going to extend over here and to that side. I did a mock-up in Photoshop, and this is how I want it to look. And I'm going to hire the contractor who did my fence to put this in. It's only going to be about 18 inches out from the shed. It'll come out to about here, and it will cover this, and so that's why I don't have to worry about dressing the edges here. And this is the opposite side. The decking will come out over here and cover that. And so it should tie together pretty nicely. The main reason I decided to go with the decking is because right here I'm going to have a step to get in. That is probably about, I don't know, 12 inches or so off the ground. And it's a step up, and then this grass here gets wet and such. And so creating this nice little porch, I guess maybe is a better way to call it, will not only look aesthetically pleasing, but it'll serve a good purpose, because I'll have the top piece up here and then a smaller step right there. So it'll be a 2-step to get in. At least that's the plan. All right, I made another trip to Home Depot, and I picked up the rock I'm going to be putting around the bed. And I'm going with this Mexican beach pebble look. This is more or less, it's river rock, but it's gray. It's not natural looking. And these are nice large rocks. So I'm gonna start filling in on this back corner and see how it goes. I only bought 10 bags of this rock, knowing that I'll need more, but I just wanted to see how much it would actually spread. Okay, well that's the first bag, and looks good, but I'm definitely gonna need a lot of these rocks. Just want to go along this line here and keep it pretty even. I don't want to put too many underneath the shed. All right, well here is how it's starting to look. So far so good. I like how the dark gray contrasts against the limestone, the light gray, almost white trim. And so, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. All right, the back is done more or less. I still probably need one more bag just to fill in some gaps, like right there. There's a little bit of the original gravel showing through. But overall, this looks pretty well filled in, and this was 10 bags. 10 bags did this back area. And this is about 16 feet long and about 12 to 13 inches deep. This is actually the biggest area I had to fill, because now what I have left to do are both sides. and that is actually 10 feet and the width is only 10 inches. It's a little bit narrower. And I have to do this side of the shed as well. This is the same length, that's 10 feet and it's about 10 inches in width. And then in front here, I'm going to be filling that in a little bit too on both sides, right over there. This area in front of the door is going to be the small little deck. Now I need to buy more of that gray rock and I'll fill in the rest of the bed. Back from Home Depot again with more rock. This time 14 more bags, and we'll see if I have enough to complete the job. I don't think I do, but I definitely have enough to complete this section, touch up the back, and most likely get most of that side done. This side is now looking pretty good. That amount of bags seem to have filled this just about right. So I'm pretty happy with this. Now I need to go back on to the other side. Here's the back side of the shed. And then the other side around that corner, I need to finish there now. So I just wanted to show that this was where my one piece of limestone was popping up. And there's a root under there, and so I decided, instead of cutting the limestone, because this is fairly cheap limestone, I was afraid it'd fall apart, I went ahead and sanded the root down and then notched it out. I didn't cut all the way clean through it. It's fairly close to the tree. I've got differing opinions whether or not that's okay to do or not. The tree is actually right there, and so it's only about 4 feet from the trunk. And so I just wanted to be careful and not hurt the tree. Some people have told me that trimming a root is just like trimming a tree branch. I'm not an arborist though, so I'm just being careful. And this solution is going to work. So now I'm just going to put these last couple bags of rock down, and unfortunately, I'm going to be about 2, maybe 3 bags short. And so I'm going to have to make one more trip to Home Depot. Well, I got the rock down, and as I guessed, I do need a couple more bags. You can see there, I need to fill in a few spots. Around here on the front, same. You can kind of see the weed barrier below there a little bit, and then down here, there's no rock at all. So I think 2 bags will do it. I'll probably buy 3. And then I will have all the river rock and the trim done around the shed. So you may have noticed that my porch design or my deck design changed. It actually changed a couple times making the video, and this is the final look. I ended up going with paved stone for a variety of reasons instead of wood. For one, it was simple and I could do it myself. And number two, after giving it some thought, wood could rot or would rot over time and not be near as weatherproof. And so I opted to go with the combination of the river rock and just the limestone look. They're actually paved stone pavers. They're very simple to put in and very durable, weather resistant, etc. And then I also put in this mat just to help wipe your feet when you come in. So it's not a big two-step like I originally wanted, but it is enough of a step up to where it helps get into the shed. Overall, this was a lot of work, but it is definitely a good DIY project that I think anyone could do, and turned out surprisingly well, I thought, and looks almost professional. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Blake Calhoun. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.